Hi everyone, in today's tactics video I'm going to review the units of the Inquisition and how they could support an Astra Militarum army. For simplicity, I won't review any of the units aside from the Inquisitors themselves, so no Acolytes or the Monkey Jackal-Row Weaponsmith. Bummer for me as I kit bashed Acolytes using Astra Militarum parts to make 9 of them. Right, so starting with the basics again, they are all characters that are contributing to assassinate, and the vast majority are psychers, so removing the opportunity of taking aboard the witch, which if obviously going to 1,000 Suns or Grey Knights is a real limiting factor. They will come from 4 ordos or disciplines, being Malleus, whom are Chaos or Demon Hunters, Heractus, which are Chaos or Psycho Hunters, Xenos, being Alien Hunters, and Menorus, being Character Hunters. This allows them to reroll all hits and win rolls against units of their ordo, so pretty sweet if going into the right enemy. It should also be said that obviously none of them specialise in fighting Empyrean forces like Adeptus Astartes or Mechanicus, given they're all good guys. But this is a big chunk of opponents where these rerolls simply aren't available. Units within 6 inches of them can use the Inquisitor's leadership for their own, and the Inquisition models either have a leadership 9 or 10. So a clear boost for us, particularly given 2 of our secondary objectives are infantry dependent. At admin point, it's like the assassins, you can only bring 1 Inquisitor per list, and it also means you can't take any assassins. Now unlike the assassins, there's no way to sub in or out Inquisitors depending on opponent's army. This is a limitation to a degree in competitive play, but obviously for casual games, you could take a Xenos Hunter up against Tau, or a Heractus against Chaos Space Marines for example. However, unlike assassins, the order of the Inquisitor is less important when evaluating their potential inclusion, in my opinion. So there are 8 characters, of which 7 are named and consequently locked to their ordo. 2 are from Forge World, costing you £28 for Solomon Locke and £42 for Hector Rex, which is expensive, but you do at least get some neat looking additional models for your money. The rest are between £17 and £22, with Karamazov at £40 with his walking chair. He is a fine cast resin kit, and I know also Eisenhorn is as well, as I personally own that model. Now looking at the data sheets, you can see they have at least a weapon skill, which is skill of 3+, so pretty accurate. A majority strength 3, toughness 3, so squishy. Sporting a minimum of 5 wounds, 4 attacks, and as I said earlier, a leadership 9 or 10. Survival wise, the majority have got a decent save with also an invul save. Critically, Eisenhorn has no invul save, instead a terrible 6 up feel no pain on his 5 wounds, and Solomon Locke has just got a 3+ armor save. They've got a wide array of additional rules which I'll touch on later, and they've got a variety of psycho abilities along with some fancy war gear. I won't explore the war gear too much, but overall they're pretty decent. On account they're usually delivering multiple damage, which combined with a respectable weapon skill or ballistic skill means your opponent will usually be rolling at least 2 saving throws. So points wise you can see they're between 60 for the basic Inquisitor and 125 being the maximum with the walking chair fellow Karamazov. The basic Inquisitor has just a chainsword and bolt pistol, but then has an absolute smorgasbord of weapon options, which of all course come with additional points costs. Now before proceeding, we should take a quick look at the Warlord traits and relics you can give to a standard Inquisitor. These can all be found in the Warzone Furia supplementary rulebook. There's actually a fair bit of depth here, allowing for some pretty decent combos. So stratagem wise, firstly, there is the 1 CP Arbiter of the Emperor, which allows them to take a Warlord trait and relic, which is pretty decent in the new world of Nephilim, which will actually cost you 2 command points. For all named characters, the Warlord trait is actually pre-selected, so only giving the build your own Inquisitor any variety. And he also benefits from the Alpha class Psyker, which sees them get 1 cast and 1 deny. Each ordo also has access to a unique spell, as well as some unique relics that the build your own Inquisitor can select as well. So a bit of depth that benefits standard Inquisitor, which could be fun customizing them. However, let's get serious and ask how an Inquisitor could help us win tabletop games. I said at the start, being a Psyker shuts down a Ball the Witch, but opens up Psychic Interrogation or Warp Ritual if you're feeling brave going for the center of the board. These to me are always a real variable, given a lot of armies also have some sort of Psyker in their army lists, or at least a way to deny psychic tests. Of course, you could get lucky going to opponent with 0 psychic defense, granting you an automatic 15 points on Psychic Interrogation. On the flip side, it also gives you some psychic defense, where you could be shutting off your opponent's psychic actions or spells. Also, dealing out mortal wounds is something Astra Militarum currently has little way of doing, given we're the only army with a 9th edition codex. Also, into mediocre enemy units, some of these Inquisitors could do decent work in the fight phase. So with an understanding of how it all fits together, let's start sifting through the individual Inquisitors to find some opportunity. Starting with those I'd ignore is unfortunately Solomon Locke at 75 points. He simply has nothing great going for him. He actually isn't a Psyker, and his compulsory Warlord trait is dull compared to the others, and his war gear, whilst good, isn't great. He could be cool leading a couple of Crusaders, but given your elite slots will probably be full of command squads, this will probably never happen. Next, I discount the mispronounced Karamazov. He is a terrible 5-inch move, and also isn't a Psyker, but he does have some interesting psychic defenses. Sure, a 30-inch multi-melter is good, but at 125 points, that's pretty much how much a Limit Rust battle tank costs, which will very likely have spotter details, sort of a 30-inch multi-melter anyway. To be fair, he's got some decent leadership buffs, getting to a leadership 11, so he could babysit big blobs of conscripts. Cool idea, but limited in its application. Next is Greyfax. Her jam is hunting psychic characters or demon characters, what opens up her opportunity a bit more. She can cast 1 and deny 2, which is powerful, whether her main Warlord trait allows her to be aggressive in the fight phase. The respectable toughness 3, 5 wounds and 5+ invul save, you want her 4 mastercrafted power sword attacks to be doing good work in the fight phase. I'm lukewarm to her, given her indomitable rule could make her a formidable denial threat to her opponent if they're casting spells often. Okay, next is Kyria Draxus. Her Power Fist means against all infantry units you're wounding on a 3+, and thanks to her radical rule, you're essentially saving 1 CP per battle round, given you can reroll as per the standard command reroll. She knows 1 spell and can deny 1, whilst her smites can target any enemy units within 18 inches, not just the closest. Finally, she can make an enemy unit within engagement range fight last. Handy to have, but given Astra Militarum are an army that doesn't excel in the fight phase, you probably won't be using this all that often. I'm also lukewarm to her as well. Okay, next is Eisenhorn. I'm more favourable here on account that he also has the radical rule and can cast 2 and deny 2. He also has an additional rule that for 25 points can bring a demon host, which is probably more for lulz, given it's only got a weapon skill plus a skill of 4+, but could be a real nuisance to your opponent. I love the Eisenhorn character and model, and really want it to work, but given he's got no invul save, he simply is too flimsy. Shame Mr. Gregor Eisenhorn. Right now, Hector Rex. This guy's an absolute unit with Terminator stats and 6 wounds. He's got a 4+ invul save with a 1+ to saving throws and a 5 feel no pain against mortal wounds. He would definitely be surviving long enough to earn back his 100 points. He can cast 2 and deny 2, plus also can teleport strike, which is also handy. I could see this bloke being played a bit more aggressively, with a decent stabber inflicting mortal wounds against demons in the fight phase. Whilst I say this, I can't think of many other Astra Militarum units that would partner with him as he transports into the enemy. Maybe Bolgrams. And the probable favourite of the named Inquisitors is Coteaz. Also with a 2+ save and a chunky flat 3 damage demon hammer, he could put up a good fight in melee. Critically however, his fixed Warlord trait would take him to 3 cast and 2 denies, being a psychic powerhouse. Overall, the Inquisitor's psychic abilities are pretty varied, with some being more for fun than anything else. The standouts for me, however, are Castigation at Warp Charge 6, whereupon 3d6 higher than the target unit's lowest leadership, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. Also, Order Malleus have a specific one called Warding Incarnation at Warp Charge 6, which can give an infantry unit a 5+ invul save, which could certainly be nice on a must-survive infantry squad or a banner-equipped command squad about to rush the centre of the board. Most importantly, however, his spy network rule is suddenly very good in Nephilim. Once per game, he can make one of your opponent's stratagems cost an additional 1 CP. This could shut down a vital boost to your opponent, and given most armies are starting on between 3 and 4 CP, this could come into play a lot more often than you think. So where does this put the Bone Basic Inquisitor? I actually say quite high up the list. If all you want from the Inquisitor is for them to play Psychic Interrogation in the right matchup, casting Smite or Castigation, or to deny your opponent's spells, then this 60-point Bone Basic option is probably the way to go. They'll do a better job than a Primaris Psyker that gobbles up a headquarters slot, or the T-shirt save Astropath, with the Inquisitor at least having a 5+ invul save and 5 wounds. A key note, however, is you'll need to invest the 1 CP to turn them into a Psyker through the Alpha class Psyker stratagem, allowing them to cast and deny once. As said, I'll probably go for Castigation for some additional mortal wounds. The additional 1 CP on Arbiter of the Emperor's Will would turn our 60.1 CP model into a 60.2 CP model, which in the world of reduced starting command points is probably a bit too much. However, if you are dead set on investing additional CP, I suggest making them Order Malleus, which allows an additional cast and deny from the Warlord trait, or taking Radical for the once for better round reroll. Relic wise, go for either Black Shroud, which makes them -1 to hit, or Digital Weapons that gives them a melee weapon a single mortal wound if a hit is scored on the target. So yep, Coteaz is the pick of the bunch in my opinion, with the bog standard Inquisitor a firm second. The standard Inquisitor has got a single resin miniature option available on GW, but I personally kit bash your own one. It's way more fun, and if you have done so, make sure you share it with me on Instagram, where my handle is also Guardsman Hannon. Right, so what do you think of the Inquisition models as a supplement to Astra Militarum? I'm way more positive to them than I am to the 4 Assassins. What do you think? And as always, if you want to support my channel, you can do so with a like, comment, or subscribing, or joining my Patreon platoon. Patreon platoon, sound off. Tank Commander Glenn, Tank Commander Mitchell, Tank Commander Watchdog Van Etten, Colour Sergeant DuPont, Sergeant Zadal, Gilliam, the Colonel Merrill, Veterans Gibson, Hall, Lundeen, Guardsman Beard, Flint, Hills, Malik, Nitton, Nguyen, Smith, Tom, Tompkin, Conscript England.